Spooky Spot will be continuing our looks at the Toy Island Universal Studios, home of the original Monsters Frankenstein series, Series 1, The Mummy. This is Series 1, and it would be unfortunately the only series that the Toy Island would produce. Collect all Universal monsters and build your very own 14-inch Frankenstein. This particular figure includes Frankenstein's leg, or at least one of his legs. On the back of the package, to collect them all, you would need the Creature from the Black Lagoon, Dracula, the Mummy, Frankenstein, and Wolfman. Contains also a free mini poster and display stand. Dated as well from Toy Island, this would have been 2006. Do you remember these from Toy Isles back in 2006? I certainly don't. Unfortunately, these made very limited distributions, and most stores unfortunately didn't carry this line. Perhaps that would also add up to why the line as a whole didn't do all that well, and perhaps Toy Island maybe went belly up after producing this line. I'm not quite sure, but what I am going to do is, certainly as always, I'm going to take myself a terrifying break. I'm going to get this opened up, and when we come back, the Mummy will be unleashed. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. With the Mummy, you'll get yourself a display stand. Same display stand that we've gotten with the other figures. This one, however, does say the Mummy on the front. Again, a really nice logo. Any one of these logos that we've been looking at, the fonts used, any one of them would look really cool on a t-shirt. Imagine wearing a black t-shirt with the Mummy written like that on the front. That would be really neat. There are two peg holes to stand the Mummy. In this case, I found the Mummy was a little harder to stand, so a display stand would certainly come in handy. A slot on the back would allow you to take the Mummy card out. You see that? As quickly as Spot said that, it fell. But to take the back card, use extreme caution, the Mummy. And you can peg that, you can just clip that into the back and you have a nice display piece. While I do like the figures, I find the back cards, the backdrop cards, have been hit or miss. Really liked Dracula. Creature from the Black Lagoon was pretty good. Frankenstein I wasn't a big fan of. Mummy is kind of in that same ballpark. I just don't like the look of that back card. It's alright, but for me, in fact, most of these figures, I probably will have them just displayed with the base on their own and just leave the card off altogether. But it's a stiff card. Very, very sturdy, very durable. It's not a flimsy cardboard or anything like that. So you have the display stand. You also, of course, get the leg, one of the legs of Frankenstein. Before we actually put this on Frankenstein, there's one thing I just want to comment on, just in case I forget to say it at the time that I'm doing the review of the entire Frankenstein. I don't know what it is, but I don't like the look of the leg. Leg looks good here. Leg looks good here, and then for some reason we've got this extra piece, this extra ledge there. I'm not sure the reasoning for that. I thought initially, okay, perhaps that's where he rotates the leg, but he has no leg swivel. In fact, he only has a bend at the knee and a hinged foot, though the foot itself is extremely hard to bend. This should have just been a continuation right into the knee. I don't understand what this additional piece is here for, this little step of plastic. I just don't, I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I don't know the reasoning for it. Unless he wasn't quite 14 inches and then they said to themselves, well, we got to add 14 inches somewhere. Where are we going to add it? Well, why don't we just add like a little extra piece right below his knee? Oh, that works, that works. Having said that, reaching off camera, let's bring in Frankenstein. There's most of him right there, and I just want to make sure I got the feet on the right way. I guess that would be the inside foot. That seems right. And that took absolutely no effort at all to peg into place. You can see, compared to the Mummy, Frankenstein, I guess the Mummy is just short of his crotch, giving you a scale idea as to how big this Frankenstein's monster will be. 14 inches, that's a pretty big figure. Of course, the one thing omitted is the additional leg, but after the Wolfman, we will have a finished Frankenstein. So stay tuned for that, and just move him off camera here. Having a look at the Mummy, Some of the figures, and I unfortunately using the comparison to Diamond Select, some figures by comparison to Diamond Select have been better. Some of them have been worse. I find the Dracula and the Mummy were better figures sculpt-wise to the Diamond Select figures. Creatures like the Creature from the Black Lagoon figure, for example, I found Diamond Select's version of it was a little bit better. Mummy, I find, is kind of just the middle area. I don't find, by comparison, I don't think it's better than Diamond Select or necessarily worse. It's just about the same. It still is a really nice figure. We've got the gray in the face there. I believe Boris Karloff also did the Mummy. Some nice wrinkling going on in the face there. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have much in the way of paint. He's got one singular color, excluding, of course, the eyes. But the gray on its own works. The slicked back hair. I don't know how that would really work on a Mummy, but... So, face-wise, he could probably have used a little more, but I can understand by, comparison to the movie, he was more a singular color in the face. Same color is carried into the hands. Also, he does have a nice added piece. He has a ring on his finger. It's really long fingernails. A little sloppy on the nails. I mean, they kind of just painted the ends. This hand's a little bit better. This hand's a little more of a mess, but still pretty good. Where the figure certainly excels is the bandages. And the bandages, by comparison, are really about the same to Diamond Select. A nice, really nice overall sculpt on the bandages. Had they found ways to kind of make some of these bandages a little looser, where they're not completely tight around the figure, would have been nice. I like that some of the pieces seem like they're just kind of falling off. A few of the bandages are just kind of draping, especially on the front. I like that little drape collar, how it just kind of collars out and then drapes down. Kind of looks like he's wearing a bandage jacket. The majority of the figure is this color, this kind of cream beige. There's a little bit of a wash on there just to indicate, trying to give you the details, a little bit of an aging look to it. And being that what it is, aside from the thighs, the majority of the joints are concealed within these bandages, which is a nice touch. Articulation-wise, the Mummy's head rotates, extremely stiff though. And it doesn't really look like it rotates all that much. The arms are on a socket hinge, so they move out, forward, back. He does have a bend in the elbow. He does have a rotation in the hand, like so. It almost looks like this hand also should have had a painted bandage on it, but they didn't. They just painted it gray. There's a swivel in the waist. Legs go forward, back, out. He has a bend at the knee, and of course he does have that swivel in the thigh. Bend at the knee, hinged foot. I overall like the figure. It's still not my favorite. I think that award still goes to Dracula and the Mummy. But I think they did a pretty good job. Frankenstein and Dracula, but I certainly think they did a good job on Mummy. I think on a rating level, if I could give the Mummy a rating, I probably will give him, I'm going to give him a 7. And certainly, while Spot didn't I didn't show you the Diamond Select version of him to Toy Island, because I really don't want to use the direct comparison. I know even though Spot had mentioned it throughout the course of this review, if you want to watch the review of that, by all means definitely check out the Diamond Select version of the Mummy to see, the differences between the two figures. We are now one figure away from finishing the 14-inch Frankenstein, and that would be the review of Wolfman, which is on the way around the corner from this video, so stay tuned for that. Today's Spooky Spot, we're having a look at the Toy Island, Universal Studios home of the original monsters, the Mummy. Still a really good figure. It's not my favorite, but I definitely think on about a middle level, this is probably a good figure, but a good solid figure. Thanks for watching, guys. Certainly stick around also. Even though Spot's finishing his reviews of the Toy Island figures, there's going to be lots more Spooky Spots heading your way this October. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.